Nigeria Immigration Service has handed over an Enugu native doctor, Obi Levi Obieze, also known as Levi Obu Onyeka, alias Ezeani, and E-Dey-Play-E-Dey-Show, to the Lagos State Police Command following his arrest over ritual killing and kidnapping allegations. Police spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin confirmed the handover in a post on X, formerly Twitter, on Friday morning. The suspect, Obi Obieze, alleged to have killed several people whose bodies were found in one of his properties at Umuojo Village, Ezeani local government area in Enugu State, was arrested on Wednesday at the Baji checkpoint along the Badagry-Seme Expressway. He was said to have been caught around 2 p.m. on Wednesday aboard a motorcycle en route Seme border after allegedly escaping arrest in Enugu, where he boarded a night bus to Mile 2, Lagos, the previous night. Obieze, who hails from Umuoji village in the Isiago community of Enugu State, had been on the run and was earlier declared wanted by the Nigerian police force in connection with the kidnapping of a 13-year-old girl and multiple ritual killings. The Enugu State Police Command on Wednesday confirmed the arrest of 3 suspects: Uche Kinsley Agomba, 33-year-old, Ilo Nweze Onyedikachi, 36, and Ejike Odinwampa, 38, in connection with the abduction. Have you been following this story for a while, Mr. Godwin?
Well, it's a very sad one that our society keeps degenerating for the worse. I couldn't even bear to see the gory details or graphics of such incident. I actually followed to some extent.
Okay.
But because I don't like following such news, because there's nothing inspiring about it. But why I am concerned is because it goes to show how badly we've evolved as society. The suspect that has over time done these atrocities where lives are involved is some man whom the same society tends to glorify and adore over his flamboyance or extravagance show of the display of wealth, ill-gotten wealth. I was able to watch one of those clips where he attended one of those functions in the East there, and I saw the grass display of ill-gotten wealth, and I had my suspicions that a businessman, any man in his right senses that has actually worked so hard for his money, wouldn't really go about doing this. So I feel it is a sad one. It's a very sad one, and to the best of my expression, it's most condemnable. And it is important that the society, the family, as a unit, should begin to, because this thing doesn't just happen. It comes from somewhere. A young man grows up and has a very terrible orientation to how to making wealth, and he gets indulged in ritual killing, like you take human life. There was a particular one I heard that I saw where a pregnant woman called. It's unthinkable. It gives me goosebumps when it's like a pregnant woman was being, and I understand they buried them alive, the victims. So imagine such gory picture where human life doesn't mean anything anymore because one has to make wealth. Well, I want to thank the immigration officer. I read through and I saw sheer intelligence. I saw an officer who deserves a medal from the government, because it takes a whole lot, such grit, such audacity, to being able to confront this man. And I understood that he was actually offered bribe in millions, and the young man turned it down. I mean, that immigration officer is my friend. And I urge the security agencies, because right now he has been apprehended, so it's a good one. I understand the villagers are celebrating, the villagers are happy, and they're actually calling for public trial. I actually hope that this whole thing shouldn't be shrouded in secrecy.
So you're talking about public trial. I'm sorry to cut you short there. You know, when he was apprehended, and then alongside all this, the other three that were also apprehended that are connected to the abduction, he has his friend too. There was a mob attack on him because the first person that was called was his close friend. I think the Agomba guy, and then he was the one that linked to where Obieze is. And then the mob handed him over to the police, according to the story. But now the question is, how did he escape from the hands of the police? And he was en route to the Seme border where he was apprehended by the immigration officer. So I just want to, get that. Now the immigration officer has taken him back to the police in Lagos State, actually. He has been handed over to the police in Lagos State. I'm not saying anything in that aspect. So if the public are asking for a public trial, is there a possibility that that can be conducted?
I was going to go to that area of how he escaped, because I knew he was actually apprehended. I saw blood all over him, a mob action. But I thank God for the civilization, the civilized manner in which this mob were able to control their tempers, because it takes a whole lot not to just waste him. Trust me, it takes a whole lot. So they've shown a lot of responsibility by handing him over to the security. And you ask a very germane question: how did he escape? That's what I'm saying. Is the system is how much individuals can be able or are able to resist some tempting offers. Do you know I'm offering somebody 10 million naira in this economy? You want to ask yourself, what do I have? I say, what do I have to lose? So it behoves on our security to do the right thing. He escaped before because they actually, I accused them. They are culpable. And I think if the security, if the police want to do their job very well, they should look into the circumstances that led to how he escaped, because we are aware that he was actually handed over to the security. How did he escape? So I think that formation, that particular station, or the people, the personnel surrounding that escape should be brought to board. They should answer, so as to serve as deterrent to others. Because, okay, imagine if the officer at the Seme border had accepted the offer. That's how that young man would have escaped and go scot-free. And trust me, getting him again to come in to face the full wrath of the law for what he has committed would have been very difficult. And I also hope and pray that this matter, I want to be very emphatic, this matter should not be swept under the carpet. The public trial, we should be the society, the people, the public should be aware of how the matters are going. It is very important. It's because it will repose confidence in our security, to make us have confidence in them.
Okay, I wanted to make a statement, observations actually. So many people have come to, speak up over the situation there. That's why I asked you if you've been following the developing story of his abduction. You know that at the time when he was apprehended, he was taken to his, they said it's his shrine where most of those women were buried alive. The pregnant women were buried alive. Some bodies were decomposing, bodies were recovered. And then a swift action was taken by the Enugu state government by demolishing his house. And now the questions have been, why demolish the house at the first instance when there could be evidence in that house?
Yeah,
yes,
structure.
Yes. If he took those people to the shrine and they got most of these things, how much more things that would have been found in this house that was demolished? So there's just been questions in the air. Is there something that is under the carpet that the people do not know for that swift action that was taken? Because when there's a situation like this, in senior crimes, even in some parts of the country, there's a serious situation like this, most of the individual properties are being sealed
sealed
by the government and not demolished, because these are evidence that has to be. What some people were saying, what if there were other pregnant women in those houses, buried underneath the house, or something, evidence that could have been found? I want to get your thoughts on what you make of that demolition, please.
Well, what I think the demolition, from what I read, was carried out in fulfillment of the extant laws of the state, I suppose, where it was written that properties from such ill-gotten wealth will be demolished. But the problem now is the pace at which that was done. Probably that ought to have been sealed ordinarily for a thorough investigation, like gathering more evidence or knowing what could be at stake. But they just went about demolishing it. But to me, I think the state government, in its wisdom, actually carried out their laws vis-a-vis demolishing properties or whatever that is being acquired from such ill-gotten wealth. So it's just an exercise of the law. That's what I think. Okay,
you think that's an exercise, but in your thoughts, do you think that was the right thing to do or not?
Well, I've just said that ordinarily such properties ought to be sealed off, and to some extent, investigations should be carried out. Who knows? Probably before the demolition, they might have done the needful. They might have go all out into the building, make some searches, and see what they could find. You never can tell, because they can just demolish a structure without security operatives or without proper investigative arm of whatever agency that is in charge of such crime, or in making sure that the criminal or the perpetrators are being brought to book. So I feel probably they might have done their due diligence before demolition.
In what way? You mean that they did an inspection of the building?
They might have inspected the building, like search around, see what could be recovered, see what...
Well, we did not see any video coverage of that.
We wouldn't know. I'm not speaking for them, but there could be such possibilities that might have actually happened. That's it. Everything mustn't be let out in the air or to the public.